Hi, welcome. My name is Katherine. Welcome to Gentle Yoga. Today we are going to need to have a strap or a belt, a blanket or a towel, a chair, and have access to a wall. It will be helpful. We're going to start on our backs and have the strap or the belt close by. And beginning in constructive rest pose, take your feet as wide as the mat, let the knees fall together, feeling the internal spiral of your thighs. Feel free to place your hands on your belly, your heart, or just on the floor. And bring your awareness to your spine, your back. Noticing the areas of your back that are touching the mat and what areas are not. Generally, when you're in constructive rest pose like this, because of the position it puts your pelvis in, the spine is in a more neutral position, the pelvis is in a more neutral position, meaning that we're not excessively rounding in the low back or excessively arching in the low back, like a real strong lumbar curve. So just notice. And then I invite you to slowly straighten your legs on the floor and just notice what happens to the spine, the back as you do this. It's not uncommon for the low back to increase, the arch increases as you straighten the legs. If it feels like it increases like so much that maybe the low back starts to accumulate tension, I encourage you to come back to the previous pose, that constructive rest pose, as we just check in with ourselves. You're going to walk your shoulder blades flat underneath you. Keep your gaze at the ceiling, and then either blur your eyes or close the eyes if that feels good. And just check in with yourself. How are you? What sensations are you noticing in the body? What kind of mood are you in? And what is the quality of your breath? The inhale, the exhale, does it feel deep? Does it feel confined? Maybe somewhere in between. And then bringing your hands to your heart if they're not there already, and just invite yourself, welcome yourself to your practice just as you are, just like this. Welcome. And then open your eyes or lift your gaze. You're going to bring your arms up. Well, actually, you're going to grab your belt. And I'd like you to imagine that you're standing in Tadasana, mountain pose. So reaching through the heels, you'll notice my feet are flexed as if I'm standing on the floor, spiraling the inner thighs slightly in to help the toes point straight towards the ceiling. And if in this position, again, you're feeling like you're accumulating a lot of tension in your low back, that's not a problem. We haven't stretched out the hip flexors yet. So if that's the case, please just come back to constructive rest legs, right? Knees bent. But we can all do this next part. So grabbing a hold of your belt or strap, about a little wider than shoulder width distance apart. And you'll notice as I hold it, the tops of my hands are facing the ceiling. My fingernails are pointing towards the floor. They're looking at the floor. And then drawing the shoulder blades down away from the ears. As you inhale, you're going to lift the strap just halfway, kind of so knuckles are looking at the ceiling. And then exhaling, lowering. But inhaling, lifting, reaching through the feet. If you chose to do this variation, again, you could do the knees bent. this too. Keep the low belly pulling in to do this. I'm just going back and forth. Now, if you can, start to lift the strap a little higher, maybe overhead, and exhaling, bringing it down. Keep moving. And as you do this, notice if there's changes in the lumbar spine. You may need to pull your tummy in a little bit more, lengthening your tailbone towards your heels if you're feeling more tension in the back as the arms come overhead. And some of you, maybe you have frozen shoulders or one frozen shoulder. If that's the case, I'd like you to do the same thing with both arms, right? So if only like your right arm can come to here, then do the same thing with the left arm too. So we're just kind of just warming up here. And then finding a position that feels as high as feels healthy to go for you today. So if it's overhead, you could do that. And then just taking 3 rounds of breath here. Feeling the back of your head press into the floor. And then after your 3rd breath, you're going to exhale. And once again, have the strap right over your heart, knuckles looking at the ceiling. You're going to try to keep both shoulders on the ground, and you're just going to kind of swing the strap over towards the left. Try to keep your elbows straight. And then coming back through center, you're going to swing the strap over to the right. Maybe swing is a bad cue here. I'm thinking like, I want this to be controlled, right? So you're just kind of like moving the strap to the left, elbows straight, keep that right shoulder on the floor as you do it, and coming back through center. And now your range of motion may not be as great as mine. Not that mine's the super awesome, but I'm keeping my shoulders on the floor. I'm trying to keep my elbows straight. And we're going to link this with the breath, inhaling back through center and exhaling, strap goes one direction or the other. Maybe you notice your entire body is like rocking with this motion. Try to avoid that. Keep the low belly pulling in, tailbone lengthening towards the floor. Again, some of you may have your knees bent, feet on the mat. And then come back through center and release. And relax the arms alongside the body here. Relax the feet now. And you're just going to walk your feet off to the left until you feel a nice stretch in the right side of the trunk. So your right hip is on the floor. Kind of like half banana pose, right? We're not going to do the arms in it just yet. Got one more round of breath. Breathing into the places where you feel a stretch. And then walking the feet back through center. Notice the sensations on the left and right side of the body. And then we'll do the second side, little half of a banana on the other side. Right? Like full banana would be arms overhead, and you're kind of moving your arm and your body into a crescent shape. But we're just working on the lower body right now, feeling the stretch maybe in the outer left waist. I'm feeling it kind of in the front of my pelvis towards the front. I'm keeping my left hip on the floor. Notice the muscles of your face and your jaw. And just relaxing any muscles that you don't need to engage right now. Last round of breath. Come back through center and draw your right knee into your chest, Uttanasana. So just hugging the right knee in, extending the left leg out long on the mat. You can let your head release to the floor still, just letting it release here. getting really heavy in the pelvis. I'd like you to imagine that your pelvis, both sides of it are glued to the floor. And then bring your left hand to the top of your left hip. And I'd like you to swing the knee open like a book, the right knee, that is. And like you're going to try to draw your right knee towards your right armpit. And since the back of our pelvis is glued to the floor, that left hip is still on the ground. You can start to reach through the left heel, reaching, toes are peeling back towards the kneecap. One more round of breath here. And then come back through center, and you're going to pass the knee to your left hand. And of course, if you can't reach the knee, maybe you just grab the back of the thigh. Your opposite hand, your right, I'd like you to take your thumb and dig it into the hip crease. So this is the area right where the thigh plugs into the pelvis, kind of getting lost in that hip crease. And I want you to use your forefingers to help wrap that outer right hip away from the face as you slowly float the knee to the left. And so now, as I'm kind of pushing that hip crease away from my face, away from my heart, and keeping the back of the pelvis, the right side of the pelvis on the floor, I'm feeling more sensation in the outer right hip. Good, and then come back through center. Bring your hands behind your right thigh. And on an inhale, reach your right heel towards the sky, flexing the foot. And exhale, point the toes and bend the knee. Let's do that a few more times. Inhale, reach through the heel. Exhale, point. How high you reach that heel towards the sky doesn't matter. We're just bringing a little bit of motion, waking up the hamstrings, waking up the quad. Oh, and of course the ankle, giving the ankle some love here. Good, and then the next time you reach the heel towards the sky, pause there. Right. Reaching the outer right hip away from the face. Good, and then release. Let's do the second side from the top. Left knee comes in the chest, extending right leg long on the mat, Upanasana. Just first starts hugging the thigh into the chest. Again, maybe you're just holding the back of the thigh in. And sometimes for some people, it's hard to grab a hold of that knee, you can even use a strap and try to grab it and pull it in. Soften your belly here. And take a big belly breath, feeling the belly expand into the left thigh. And then now start to reach through the right heel. Right hand comes to the hip. You're going to need to pull your low belly in a little bit for this as you open the left knee wide, drawing it towards the left armpit. Reaching through that right heel like you're standing on your right leg. One more round of breath here. And then we'll pass that leg off to the right hand. Left hand, dig the left thumb crease, left thumb into the hip crease, push it away from the face, and then gently guide the knee a little to the right. So it's you might feel like a sensation of like IT band area of a stretch here. And really the key I find is to keep pushing that hip crease away from the face, away from the heart. You're wrapping that outer left hip away. And it's not so much, you may not be able to see so much, but it's more of like a sensation. We're feeling how maybe subtly changing the position of our hips affects this stretch. Last breath here. Good, and then come back through center, grab a hold the back of the thigh, and inhale, reach the heel towards the ceiling. Point the foot, exhale, bend the knee. Keep moving. Like this is kind of like the action that you do when you're on a swing, reaching through the heel as you extend the legs, pointing the toe as you swing back. Um, if you have knee pain, tight quads, I encourage you to go find a swing and play around on a swing in the park. It's pretty great. I feel like this movement is really nice for the knee, is really nice for the ankles, and it's fun. Being on a swing's fun, unless you don't like swinging, then it's not fun. Okay, next time you extend the leg towards the sky, pause there. If you can even press the back of the thigh into the hands to intensify the stretch. Good, and then release. Left foot next to right. Knees are bent, arms alongside the body. And just taking a moment and noticing left and right side. And then take your feet wide once again, as wide as the mat. And we're just going to windshield wiper the knees a little side to side. Right, so my legs aren't touching, the feet are as wide as the mat. And just like windshield wipers don't touch as they swing side to side, neither are your legs. Low belly's pulling in and just noticing what's going on in the hip as you do this. Does the whole body want to move with this movement? Can you see if you can localize it more, the movement in just the legs? Now, next time the knees windshield wiper to the right, extend your arms out left and right, and you're going to turn your head to the left. Take one more round of breath here. And then windshield wipering the knees, second side to the left, head turns right. And then come back through center. Now, once again, walking your feet a little closer together, preparing for a bridge pose where arms are going to come alongside the body. And we'll just lift the hips up and lower them with the breath. So on an inhale, lifting the hips up, try to keep your thighs parallel as you gaze at the ceiling. Exhale, lower the hips. Not so important about how high they get. We're just saying hello, good morning, tops of thighs, quads, giving them a little stretch, waking up the glutes and the hamstrings a little bit more. Keeping the feet on the floor the entire time. And then the next time you lift the hips to the sky, I'd like you to exhale and try to articulate the spine one vertebrae at a time. You're going to roll down the spine. Low back and then rear is the last thing to come down. Do your best to do that. Not always possible, but try. Inhale, lifting the hips once again, and then exhaling, rolling down the spine. Let's do that a few more times. Like cat-cow pose, if you're familiar with it, is a really nice pose to increase spinal mobility, but sometimes we get out of the areas that need a little bit more mobility, and doing something like this, you can draw the tummy in and really press the low back into the mat. Let's add the arms. Inhale, reach the arms up towards the sky, and then back behind you, hips are in the air. Exhale, roll down the spine, one vertebrae at a time, hips come down last. Let's do that twice more. Do please keep your gaze on the ceiling. Good. Go ahead and roll to one side, coming on up to a cross-legged position, Sukhasana, cross-legged position. And actually, let's have a seat on the blanket. We're gonna support our hips so we can have a tall spine. So lifting the hips up just a little bit higher than they would be normally if we sat cross-legged. And now here we are sitting with a nice tall spine. Bring your palms together and your elbows as close together as they can get. Sit nice and tall, lifting the sternum towards the sky. Now, my elbows are a little lower than my heart. I find that right now, feeling kind of tight, so my elbows are a little lower than my heart. That helps me lift my chest and stay long in the spine. So please feel free to do that if you're feeling tight as well in the arms. On the next exhale, I want you to open your arms open like a cactus. Inhale, straighten the elbows, sweep the arms wide open. And then exhale, bring your right straightened arm across the body as you hook it with your opposite arm. So kind of like a little stretch you do in PE here. You let your shoulders come away from the ears, keep lifting the heart. Now my right arm is straight and it's on top. I'm gonna let my right shoulder blade wing off the back. And if you find your shoulders are really high up towards your ears, you could release and kind of loosen up the shoulders again, and then come back into it. Want to let those shoulders just kind of hang away from the ears. Tune into your breath. And then slowly tilt your left ear towards your left shoulder. Right ear hanging away from that right shoulder. Right shoulder is just hanging away from that right ear, right? So we're getting a healthy stretch on the right side of the neck. Maybe there's some movement here. You could nod your head a little bit as it hangs off to the left. Good, and then head comes back through center and release the arms. Notice left and right. You're gonna recross your legs, have opposite shin in front. Doesn't matter which one it is, just mix it up. And then palms together, elbows as close as they can get together as you keep lifting your heart nice and tall in the spine. I'm lifting the base of my skull, the back of my skull up, so my chin is slightly towards my throat. Take a big breath in here. On the exhale, open your arms like a cactus. Inhale, straighten the elbows. Big stretch, maybe swinging the arms back behind you if that feels good. Exhale, second side, left straightened arm comes across the body. Let those shoulders just droop away from the ears as you fan the left shoulder blade off the back. Feel your breath. Sitting nice and tall here. The heart is lengthening towards the sky, and then the heart's reaching up so high that the shoulders just can hang. It's almost like the shoulders are hanging off your heart. And then we'll tilt right ear towards right shoulder. Continue to breathe, noticing the muscles of the face, the jaw, the tongue. The exhales releasing any tension in the face. The inhales feeling the length of your spine, and maybe there's some movement on this side that would feel good. You could kind of nod your head off to the side if you like that. However, you feel like you can get a healthy feeling stretch in the left side of the neck. Couple more breaths. And inhaling, coming back through center, releasing the arms, noticing left and right side of the body. And then just rolling the shoulders. Okay, so I'm going to give two variations for what we're about to do. If you don't want to put weight on your knees, please move to your chair right now. So you're going to have a seat. We're all going to eventually use the chair, but again, no weight on the knees. Go ahead and have a seat on the chair. Those of you who are okay with having weight on your knees, you're going to unfold your blanket and kneel on it. Here it is. Bring your hands to your hips. We'll all bring our hands to our hips. The folks who are in the chair are just going to sit straight forward and just kind of notice the position of your pelvis. Again, feeling neither too rounded in the low back or sway in the low back. Maybe you need to start to lengthen the tailbone towards the floor. And then once again, inhale and bring your palms and elbows as close together as they can get. I'll show you my side view. You can do this in the chair too. On an exhale, opening the elbows and palms, shoulder blades flat on back. Inhale, back together. We're going to keep moving like that. Head and heart aligned over pelvis. Inhaling, palms together. Exhaling, low belly is coming in to help support, drawing the shoulder blades together behind you to feel a stretch in the chest. Few more times like this. We're strengthening the muscles of the upper back, helping us with posture, helping us with shoulder stability. Good. Inhaling, open, and exhaling, releasing to the floor. Okay, we're going to do gate pose. Those of you on your hands and knees are going to kick your right foot off to the right. Those of you who are in the chair, folks in the chair, you're going to sit side saddle to your right and drop your left knee. You're holding onto the chair with your right hand. Okay, so we all have our left knee down. And then inhale, sweeping left arm up overhead. So folks in chair, you can do that. The hand that's not holding the back of the chair sweeps up. And then exhale, sweep it down. Inhale, sweeping up. Key here for you, those of you who are in gate, keep moving with your breath, is that you're not buckling in the knee. You're not like locking the knee. You want to keep the top of the thigh really active and engaged, kneecap lifted. And if that's feeling really hard for you right now, maybe you just bend the right knee just a little bit. You don't want to lean on that right knee. Now, next time left arm comes up, you're going to pause there and swing right arm underneath you. So not putting any weight on that knee. Those of you who are in the chair totally can do this. You're just, so we're all getting a nice stretch in the left side of the trunk, top of the left thigh. Low belly's pulling in, last breath. And then inhale, come on up. Half Hanumanasana. You're going to pivot to your right if you're on the floor. Walking right foot forward and peel the toes back. Now I'm balancing on my right heel. Those of you who are on the chair, sit regular style in the chair and just kick that right foot forward. Left foot's on the floor and lean forward. Forearms resting on your left thigh. As you stretch the back of the right leg. Toes are peeling back. Let's take 1 or 2 more breaths, reaching our hips back behind us. Nice and long in the spine. And then folks on the floor, hop your right foot towards the body on the mat. And then you're going to pivot, once again, coming back to standing on your knees. Gate pose, second side, kick your left foot out to the left. Standing on that right knee. Now you notice head, heart, pelvis right over that right knee. And those of you who are in the chair, you are now going to turn side saddle to your left and step your right foot back behind you. On an inhale, you're going to sweep your right arm up overhead. And exhale, coming out of it. Keep moving like that. I'll demo the chair, folks. Inhaling, reaching. Exhaling, coming out of it. Those of you in the chair, you can get a little bit of glute work if you squeeze that right glute. Now, next time the right arm comes up overhead, we're going to pause there, a little side bend to the left. Left arm comes underneath you, right? No weight is putting on that leg. We're using the strength of our core to lift up out of that standing knee. And those of you on the chair, you're welcome to keep that left hand on the back of the chair if that's feels helpful to you. If you want to do the core exercise, you just same thing with the arms. Maybe leaning the heart back, one more breath. Good, and then come on out of it. Let's stretch out the back of our left leg. So you're going to Ardha Hanumanasana, pivot to your left. Walk your left foot forward, peel the toes back, feeling the stretch in the back of the leg. Those of you in the chair, of course, here you go. You're just kicking that left leg forward. You're sitting regular style. Right foot is on the floor. And forearms resting on the right leg. And so much magic happens when we peel the toes of the left foot back towards the kneecap. We're strengthening the shin and we are stretching the calf muscle. Let's take 1 or 2 more breaths, nice and slow. Good, go ahead and come on back through center. We're all going to meet standing. You can move your blanket off to the side. Mountain pose. Okay, on an inhale, you're going to sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, sweep the arms down. Now, if you have a frozen shoulder, one of the shoulders or both of them are frozen, just lifting the arms, same height, depending on, right? So sometimes there's a tendency as we lift our arms, if one shoulder is frozen, that you only lift one arm just as high. There's a place for that, but for this, I'd like you to be symmetrical. Okay, because right, you want to keep range of motion in the opposite arm, totally get it. But I'd like you to be symmetrical for this, just to help balance the spine, balance the body, the nervous system. So we're all symmetrically lifting our arms up on the inhale, and on the exhale, lowering. Now on the next inhale, I want you to sweep your arms forward and up as high as they can go. Exhale and lower. And just like we did earlier when we were on the floor was pretty cool because it kind of could help us keep our head and our heart aligned. The body was stabilized as we were just moving the arms. But now here we're using the core, the strength of the legs to stabilize the body. Next time you reach out, pause here for a round of breath. And then slightly bend your knees. Exhale, dive forward. Bending the knees as much as you need till the fingertips can touch the floor. Let the head go, gaze at your knees. We'll be here for a couple breaths, right? So maybe you bend the knees quite a bit, like you're sitting in a chair. That's totally cool. Let the back just round over the thighs. Those of you who can straighten your knees, cool, do that. Press down through the balls of the feet, the toes, the heels. Last round of breath as you gaze at your knees and really let the weight of your skull traction your neck. And then we'll all bend our knees and roll up one vertebrae at a time. Heads lastly to come up. Take your time. And once you come to stand, head over heart, you can straighten those knees, mountain pose. Good. Okay, let's move on over to the chair. We are going to have a seat and have our strap nearby. So grab that strap. Okay, so just sitting here right now, notice the position of your pelvis, notice the position of your spine. Typically, as the arms go overhead, if the core isn't engaged, then the back really moves into a deep lumbar curve. Some of us actually, you might start to tuck your tail as the arms come overhead. Just depends on what your tendency is. But what I'm asking you to do is to keep a somewhat of a curve in the back, in the low back, but not excessively moving the curve, the low back in one direction or the other. We want to keep the pelvis in a neutral position. So you're going to take the strap in your right arm, and I'll show you the side view. Sitting on the edge of my chair, and you're going to sweep that right arm up overhead. You're going to take the strap back behind you. Left arm is going to sweep out to the left. Take a big breath in, shoulder blades on back. Exhale, grab a hold of the strap behind you. Now neutral pelvis here. We want to make sure you're not excessively swaying in the low back or tucking in the tail, gazing forward. And you'll notice, look at how far my hands are away from the strap. So we're doing kind of a Gomukhasana variation. And then we're going to kind of like floss the strap behind us. So I'd like you to straighten your top arm a little bit and then bend it. And so you're going back and forth through bending one elbow as you straighten the other a little bit, and vice versa. Moving back and forth. Now, if you find that your head is excessively coming forward, not uncommon, but I invite you to try to align the crown of your head with your heart. So you have a crown on your heart. Couple breaths. Nice and tall. Good, and then release. Noticing left and right side of the body, noticing your breath. Let's do the second side. So grab your strap, left hand, reach it forward, and then reach it towards the sky. You're going to bend the elbow back behind you, right? So some folks, maybe you don't have that kind of range of motion. You just lift that arm as forward and up as feels like healthy for you. Grab a hold of the back of the strap with the other hand. Sitting nice and tall, lengthening the tail towards the floor. And then moving the strap. Back of the head moving slightly back in space. Maybe it's even slightly getting rubbed by the strap as you move the head back, right? So just keeping an eye out for this kind of position. drooping the head, the chin slightly towards the throat as you move. You kind of source your power, bring the energetic activation that maybe would be in the neck, using it to jet it forward, and bring it down into the tummy. Draw the tummy in and let that support your heart, your crowned heart, right? Last round of breath. And releasing, hands on thighs, just noticing the sensations of the body. Okay, let's stand up and we're just going to move over towards a wall. Come to stand about an arm's distance away from the wall. Let me see if I can show you. Okay. Fingertips are just about in line with the shoulder, maybe a little lower if you're feeling really tight in the arms still. And I'd like you to try to stabilize your body. So using the strength of your legs and your core, neutral pelvis, head over heart over pelvis, and then stabilizing the entire body. We're going to just draw a circle on the wall with the right fingertips. Keeping the fingertips on the wall the whole time. I have to put my fingertips on my curtain, but if I didn't have to be at this angle so you could see what I was doing, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. You can't see what I'm doing, but you know what I'm doing, right? Oh, you can see it, okay. And then just notice, is the whole upper body trying to move with this motion, or can you keep the shoulders and the trunk stable as you just draw with the arm? Okay, maybe the movement needs to go slower so you can really do this with awareness and intention. Good. Go the other direction. And then release. Notice right and left side. Let's do the second side. Asana. Left fingertips to the wall. Standing nice and tall, neutral pelvis. And then drawing your circle. Might have to adjust how close you are to the wall so you can keep those fingertips on the wall the whole time, but you're stabilizing the rest of the body. Sometimes even just bringing the right hand to the left shoulder might help. Notice, is my trunk rocking as I do this? Noticing the muscles of the face, releasing any activation of muscles that is not needed. Let's go the other direction with these circles. Feeling your heels and the balls of the feet root down into the planet. Okay, good. Release, noticing left and right side. Good, rolling the shoulders forward, up and back. You'll interlace the fingers and then start to draw shoulder blades together. Some of you may be able to straighten the elbows. Some of you, if interlacing the fingers isn't something you could do, no problem. Grab your strap and then just start to rip the strap apart. I've got my palms facing each other as I rip the strap apart. lifting through the heart space, drawing the chin slightly towards the throat and leaning the head back, almost like you're going to rest your head on a pillow right behind you. Last breath. Release. And then coming on down to sit, let's grab our blanket and just fold it up so you can elevate your hips once again. We're going to sit in cobbler's pose. So soles of the feet together. Sitting a little bit higher than the floor with the help of the blanket. Sit nice and tall. Some folks, you may find you feel a good stretch just bringing the heels in towards the groin, sitting tall. Others, you might find you want to just fold over the legs. So let's all take about 4 breaths wherever you find the best healthy feeling stretch in the inner groin. Good, and then inhale and come on up. If you came down, you're going to kick out your left leg long for Janu Shirshasana. Still up on that blanket. And orienting your shoulders and your chest towards that left leg. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold over leg. Some of you may grab the foot, some of you may be hands on either side. You're also welcome to grab a strap if you like, but it's really doesn't, I'm not so concerned about whether you're making contact with your foot. Rather, are you feeling length in the spine? Are you connecting with your breath as we extend our heart towards the big toe? Gaze at your left knee to keep the back of the neck long. One more round of breath here. Reaching through that left heel. Good, and then inhale and come on up. Moving to Ardha Matsyendrasana, you're going to bring your right foot to the outside of the left leg, hugging the shin, getting nice and tall. Some of you may find that bending the bottom knee is a really good fit and you like to do it that way. So your choice, you can certainly keep the bottom leg straight, particularly if you have knee sensitivity. And get nice and tall and then reach the right arm up towards the sky on an inhale. Exhale, fingertips come back behind you and you can hug the knee with the left arm. And for starts, just gaze over the right hip. So you're just kind of gazing to the right here. Inhaling, lifting and lengthening the heart. Exhaling, feeling the hips root down into the blanket. And then if it feels like a healthy fit, maybe you turn your head to look over right shoulder, any amount. Good, and then coming on out of it, a little counter twist if you like. And then let's do the second side from the top. So you're going to kick out your right leg long on the mat, Janu Shirshasana. Reach through that right heel. Inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale, fold over the straightened leg. I'm still reaching through that right heel. Tilting the front of my pelvis towards the floor as I extend my heart away from the navel. Gaze at the right knee, keeping the back of the neck long. Soften the forehead, soften the eyes. About 1 or 2 more breaths here. When the inhale arrives, come on back up. Ardha Matsyendrasana, you're going to be the left foot to the outside of the right leg. Maybe the leg stays straight, bottom leg. If the knee's feeling sensitive, maybe you bend that bottom knee. Hug the legs and sit nice and tall. And then with all this length in the spine, let's get even more. You're going to reach your left arm up towards the sky, inhaling, rainbow it out back behind you, fingertips to the floor, giving that left knee a hug. Just looking over left hip. So we're keeping the twist in from the shoulders down, right? And then if it feels healthy for you, slowly turning the head to look over left shoulder. Notice how the breath moves in the body in this position. We'll be here about 1 or 2 more breaths. Good. Inhale, come on back through center and just have a seat of your choice, comfortable seat. You could come into cobblers for this too if you like. I'm just going to sit cross-legged and we'll just roll the head a little bit, relaxing the neck. So draw the shoulder blades back and down the back, and then you're going to bring left ear to left shoulder and exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, right ear to right shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, left ear to left shoulder. As you do this, try to just move the neck, just the head. Exhale to chest. The inhale, rolling head to the right. Spine nice and long. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, left ear to left shoulder. We're going to pause there. Right fingertips to the floor. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Head heavy to the left. Keep the head heavy to the left. You're going to turn your head to the left now, bringing left chin towards left shoulder. Soft jaw. Good. Look forward. Head back through center. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, right ear to right shoulder. Stay there. Left fingertips to the floor. Draw shoulder blades together behind you. Let the jaw go soft. Maybe the jaw goes slack. Keep lifting through the heart, broad chest. And then turn the head to the right. So your head is still heavy to the right, but you're turning the head so that the chin gets closer towards the right shoulder. It's like you're looking to the mat just to the right side of you. Inhale, look forward. And exhale, come back through center, rolling the shoulders. Okay. So next, we're going to grab our chair and place the chair on the mat, the 2 legs on the mat here. And then coming on down to sit, let's grab our blanket, kick both the legs forward. We grab our blanket or our towel. I'm going to show you a way that you can come into just a very mild back bend as we come into Shavasana. And again, we want it to be quite mild, okay? So you're going to take your blanket or your towel and you want to create, I would say, about 1/2 an inch to maybe an inch of thickness as you fold. Like think of like a fettuccine noodle. I'm going to use this blanket, bring it perpendicular across my mat, and I'm going to use it to help guide my shoulder blades flat and together on the back. And then that way I get a nice chest opener as I relax in Shavasana. I'm also going to kick my legs up on the chair. So if you're like, no thanks, I want to do regular Shavasana, cool, get into your Shavasana. If you want to come along with me, you are going to bring your right elbow above the blanket on the mat. Right here I am leaning. And then I'm going to lay down so that the back of my heart, my shoulder blades, particularly the bottom tip of my shoulder blades, is being guided into my back by this blanket. My head is on the mat. And if you'll notice, my arms are going to extend left and right, and they're clearing this blanket, like they're above it. And then I'm just kick my legs up on the chair. Feel free to get that chair as close to you as feels good. Supporting the calves. And then potentially, once you get into it, maybe you walk the shoulder blades a little closer together and a little further down the back. We want a feeling of spaciousness in the neck, length in the neck. And you could even lift the chin a little further, just slightly away from the chest so that the throat feels open, but not so open that the back of the neck gets compressed. You want to keep that back of the neck length. And then closing the eyes and scanning through the body, making any adjustments as needed. So this is meant to just feel relaxing and spacious. If it doesn't, please find a position that feels restful and spacious for you. Ensuring that the belly is really soft, the face. Shavasana. Begin to deepen your breath. Wiggling your fingers. And walking your feet to the edge of your chair so that the thighs are in towards the chest. Bring your feet together on the edge of this chair. And you'll roll to one side, pausing there for a moment. And then pushing yourself up to a comfortable seat of your choice. We'll bring our palms together at the heart. Once again, checking in, noticing how your body feels, what are the sensations you're currently experiencing, what is your mood, the quality of your breath. If you were able to cultivate any benefit from this practice, I invite you to think of someone you'd like to dedicate your practice to. Imagine you could send any good feelings that you accumulated in this practice to them via the breath on the exhale. So visualize this special person or animal in your life, and we'll gather up the goodness on an inhale and send it out on the exhale. Breath in, send it out. See them feeling good in their body, heart, and mind. Thank you so much for your practice today. Namaste.